I'm Stephanie Gellman, and I'm the product manager of online leads with Royal LePage Canada. And today I'm here to tell you about some amazing features in rlpSPHERE that will help you close more leads. All right, very exciting. Also, I want to do a little shout out to Ariane with Learning Services. She's in the house today, and she's helping me manage the chat. Okay, so thank you so much, Ariane, for joining us today as well. Okay, so let's get started. Did you know that the industry average close rate for online leads is less than 1%, or some people say 1%? But regardless, with an effective system in place, you can achieve a much higher close rate. We're talking 4 to 6%, sometimes even higher, and automate the effort that it takes to close the leads. Okay, so can I get a shout out in the chat? Who wants to earn more money and work less? Okay, if you want to earn more money and you want to work less, I need you to pay attention to what I have to say, because I'm going to show you how you can achieve those kind of results by leveraging a system that you already have. Okay, now there's kind of two kinds of people in the audience. Okay, there's people who are not yet using a CRM, and then there's people who are already using a CRM, right? And I'm talking to all of you. Okay, so anyone who is not yet using a CRM to manage your contacts, you need to start using Sphere right away. Instead of going out and spending money buying a subscription for something else, just use the system that's at your fingertips. Okay, that's a no-brainer. People who are using another CRM, don't worry, I'm not going to try to pressure you or convince you to stop using that. Okay. If you've been in business for a while and you're using something that you enjoy using and it works, well, that's fabulous. Keep using it. But have you ever thought about using rlpSPHERE to scrub new leads? And then when they show that they're serious, move them into your main system. Okay. So this is something to keep in mind. There's a lot of good reasons to do that, to use the Sphere for that. Consider the fact that all the smart leads that you accept, they're automatically entered to the Sphere already. You don't need to do anything. They're already in there. Okay. And then when you use the smart campaigns for new online leads that are proven to engage, they're going to do all the heavy lifting for you. Okay. And then when you use those combined with behavior automation features in the Sphere, uh, it can help you surface the best opportunities, and then you free yourself to focus on the business that is most likely to transact. Okay. So remember this today, whether you're new or whether you don't have a CRM, you're trying to figure out which one to use, or whether you're already using another one, the Sphere is a great one to use to manage your new leads. Okay. So I'm going to tell you how. So I just said the online leads in general close at like 1% or less, and that using an effective system can significantly increase your results. Now, those stats come from NAR, and I'm going to tell you, I've seen it happen in real life. Okay. I have been managing smart leads since it launched in 2018, and I track brokerage close rates. And the top offices in RLP who work their leads according to the best practices have achieved an impressive 5.8% close rate. Okay, so almost 6% close rate average over the past 5 years. Okay, now this sounds amazing, and it really is amazing. It's awesome, it's super. But you need to remember that with a close rate of almost 6%, it does mean that 94 out of 100 didn't close, right? So whenever we work leads, we got to remember that even the best offices and the best agents do not close most of their leads. That's how it goes. So when you use the automation found in the Sphere, including the smart campaigns for new online leads, it'll help you sift out the good leads from the bad, and because the leads that want to transact, they're going to reply to one of the messages in the campaign. And then you take over and you do what you do well. Now, the rest of the leads, and it's going to be most of them, they will either unsubscribe or they'll just flat out ignore you. So when you use the campaigns, you save time. It allows you to focus your attention on people who are serious. It's like washing dishes by hand versus using a dishwasher. Now, either way, my dishes are going to get clean, but when I use the machine, I don't have to get dirty. My dishes get sanitized. They're cleaner than what I would have done by hand because, I'm kind of sloppy sometimes. I rush, and I don't always do things well. And plus, a lot of my time was saved, which I got to use on more interesting tasks. Okay. So the automation in the sphere is the same. It helps you close more leads more easily, does a lot of the work for you, freeing you up to do other tasks. Okay. And that is because we custom designed campaigns for you to use for your new leads. And we know how to close more leads. There's three main principles, three keys. You want to be fast, you want to be persistent, and you want to provide value. Okay? And when you work leads, if you do those three things, you can close more leads than the average agent does because the average agent does not give leads what they need. Okay. And this is what I mean. The average agent takes over 15 hours to reply to a new lead. Yet the optimal time to respond to them is 5 minutes or less. So, in fact, you're 100 times more likely to to connect with a lead when you respond to them in 5 minutes versus 30, much less 15 hours. Okay. Now, why is this? I don't think you need me to tell you that people are very, very impatient. Okay. People want a quick reply, even when they don't want to answer you. They live in a world of immediate satisfaction. And when leads do not get a quick reply, you know what they do? They go fill out another online form and another and another and another. But when you respond fast, you stop them from filling out another form because they've been satisfied, right? Okay. So remember, though, 5 minutes is best. It's great, but always, always respond no matter how much time has gone by. Okay. So do not despair if time has gone by. Don't say, oh, it's been an hour. Stephanie told me my lead is cold now. No, no, get in touch because even if you're a bit slow with reply and someone else maybe contacted them before because in their impatient the lead filled out a couple of forms, you still have a chance to succeed by sending quality information and persisting with your outreach even if you don't get a reply from them right away. And this is because most leads need more time to respond, right? So even though they want you to answer them quickly, maybe 1 out of 10, maybe 1 out of 20 is actually going to answer that first message you send. The rest of them are just going to flat out ignore you. Okay. And the reality is that the average agent typically reaches out to a new lead one time. And if they don't get an answer, they very rarely try again. Okay. But the ones that do try again have seen that leads will typically reply somewhere between the second and the 12th contact attempt. Somewhere the magic number seems to be around the six, but sometimes it takes even more time because some leads are real early in the buying stage. Okay, so we need to remember the greater the frequency of the outreach, the better the chances of connecting. And the winners with online leads use nurturing plans like smart campaigns to automate the outreach. Okay. So, what exactly is a smart campaign? Maybe you're wondering if you've never heard that term before. You can think of them as a mix of an action plan and a drip campaign. Okay. So they have things like settings and actions. Actions are things like tasks, emails, text messages, phone calls, automatic status updates by the system. And settings is when those things happen. And when you activate the Royal LePage created smart campaigns for new online leads in your RLP sphere, they're automatically applied to your new online leads. You don't have to do anything. And they include anywhere from 23 to 27 touches, depending on the campaign, that over 90% of which is automated. It lasts for 6 months. Okay. And if you do nothing, okay, and I'm not telling you to do nothing, but if you do nothing, the system has your back because so much of it is done automatically. Okay. Um, Lastly, you want to remember that ours are castle compliant, and you will not find that in other American made CRMs because they don't need to follow our rules. Okay. So the ones that we've made, you can know they are compliant with the legislation. And then lastly, we have some beautifully professionally templated branded pieces created by our Royal LePage Canada marketing department. And I'll show you a few samples of that later. But you want to remember that those are also part of the Smart Campaign package. Okay. So when you use these campaigns, you automate your workflow. You align all your marketing efforts, your messages, you make sure that every single lead is properly nurtured. And like I said before, it helps you filter out the unserious from the serious because the serious will reply and the rest will ignore you or unsubscribe. Okay. Now, I mentioned the three keys to closing leads, right? Speed, persistence, value. Okay. But let's get real. Being fast to reply all the time is really hard to do. You have a life, but yet quick reply is crucial to closing more leads. When you use the smart campaigns, note they include an immediate reply to your leads, satisfies their desire to be responded to quickly. Okay. I said before, most of your leads are not going to answer your first few messages. They can take weeks, sometimes even months to answer. And staying persistent is extremely hard with an unresponsive lead. Okay. You're going to start feeling like you're being a pest. So you stop, or you just don't know what to say anymore. So you don't say anything. Using Smart Campaign to do this work, it saves you time and effort. It allows you to spend more time doing other tasks. Okay. Because the campaigns, like I said, they last for 6 months, long-term nurturing. And then lastly, the best campaigns provide value. Okay. You don't just want to keep sending out messages saying, hey, Stephanie, hey, call me back, call me back. You also want to send them pieces of value. You want to give to receive. Good campaigns inform as well as entertain the recipients. In our campaigns, all of them, we've included 6 pieces, okay, that are educational, and they're professionally designed and templated. They're either about the buying or selling process, depending on what kind of lead it is. And these are valuable information that you give to your lead, and it shows them that you are the expert. Okay. So I want to remind you, all your smart leads, they're automatically entered into your Sphere CRM. You don't have to do anything, it happens. Okay. And all you got to do is you turn on the campaigns, you make use of the automation, you siphon the lead funnel, filter out the bad from the good, focus your attention on the people that want to transact with you. How do we do this? Okay. I bet you're getting excited, pumped up. You want to just get in there and get started. So the first thing that you need to do is you want to go into rlpSPHERE and find the campaigns. Smart campaigns are found under the marketing tab, smart campaign, and then you want to look in the section called my campaigns. Okay. Now, to find a specific one, there's a little search field and you can type them in by name, or you can just simply browse everything in the My Campaigns area. Now, what I'm going to do for you guys as a follow-up to this session, okay, is I will be sending you a list of all the campaigns that I want you to turn on to nurture your online leads. Okay. And turning them on is super easy. Okay. All you do is you hit this little slider and you turn it red. Okay. So a gray one is off, a red one is on. Easy peasy. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to send you a list. Okay. And then you'll find them, you'll turn them on. Now, note, I know you guys, I know there's going to be people who right off the bat want to start editing them, making them their own. Note that you cannot edit the RLP created campaigns. Okay. And to be honest, you do not need to, because they're already optimized. They are already optimized for really, really great results. Okay. But I know some of you will want to. And if you really want to, you can't resist it. What you're going to do is you need to clone it and edit the clone. Okay. So what you want to do is you'll pick the campaign. You're going to pick the campaign and you will hit clone. Now, I'm going to stop myself for a moment because I see a really cool question from April, and it's so relevant. Okay, so April says, "What happens if more than one campaign matches the lead and it starts sending them more than one campaign?" Yeah, and then someone gets like bombarded with messages. So you'll see, and I'll show you. I think in a actually in a few screenshots you'll see coming up, although it might be a little small. Campaigns have a thing that is called a lock, okay? And they have a thing called always run. Now, it, well, here, you can see it here. It's tiny, tiny, but you can see here, this one says always run no. As a rule of thumb, you want your campaigns to always say no for always run. Now, there's going to be a few random exceptions, and I'm not going to get into that. Okay. But as a rule of thumb, just have always run no. And what it'll do is, let's say April becomes a lead in Stephanie's CRM, the system will look at April and all of her info, and it will apply the best campaign for her. It will look at her and it'll say, did April request a showing from a property? Okay, I'm going to apply a showing request campaign. Did April ask for the value of her property? Okay, I'll apply a seller campaign. So as long as you don't have several campaigns that have this little always run thing on, you'll never have leads that have more than one campaign attached to them. Okay, so like I said, there's going to be edge cases where you do want that to happen, and to learn about those, you can do a deep dive into the settings, but not for these guys. Okay, perfect. So, and going along with that, okay, this is important to know. When you clone it, okay, you're going to see some stuff. Start triggers, okay, and that's this little section, starts when. So I said in that reply, well, the system will look at what kind of lead. Did she ask for a showing request? Did she do a general information request? Did she ask for the value of her property? This one is a distributed listing, so kind of a general information request. When and if you ever clone a campaign, don't change any of this stuff, okay? Don't change the start triggers. Don't change the design for. Don't change the always run. Do not lock it, right? Just keep hitting next, 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 okay? For these 4 areas. Now, the last one that you do probably want to change is the name, okay? The name. I recommend you put your initials, maybe at the start. That'll help you find it easier, but everything else you leave the same because it's so crucially important that each contact gets the right kind of campaign applied to it and that you don't have people doubling up. Okay, makes sense. So once you've done the clone, then you can start editing the various parts. You click the parts, you hit edit, you do your thing. Okay, so you can change the timing. You'll see there's a timing when it occurs. Okay, the message, so what you're going to write in there. When you edit one of these messages, you will be prompted to give it a new name because you're effectively creating a new template. All campaigns are created out of templates. Templates are like the building blocks of your campaigns. And when you edit one, you basically you just made yourself a new little brick, and you can use it again in future campaigns, which is really handy. So you make your changes and you hit save. Now, like I said, okay, you really do not need to make changes. You don't. These are amazing the way they are, okay? But if you insist on being someone that edits them, do something cool like add in videos, because we know that videos increase open rates, and add in something that shows the unique value of you, tells people what makes you different from all the other real estate agents out there that are vying to get these people's attention. Okay, perfect. So this is a summary. This page shows a summary of the contents of a typical RLP campaign for new online leads. And we're not going to go into the details. You can go in the system, you can preview the content, but what's important for you to know, and to be honest, like you don't even need to preview the content. It is awesome. Okay. But what's important to know is that we did a lot of research and we leveraged years of experience, industry best practices to create the best content to get results. Okay. So, what did we do? Early in the campaign, there's a lot more touches. There's touches every day. Then it moves to every other day, then once a week, then every 20 days until the end of the campaign at the 6-month mark. The campaigns contain a mix of short messages as well as some that are longer informative emails. And I'm going to show you some examples shortly. All right. Now, I want you to know out of all this good stuff that happens over 6 months, the highlighted things are the actions done by you. That's only 5 things over 6 months. Okay. And those are mostly done on the first and second day, and then one more task to do on day 13. The rest is done for you. You don't need to sit. You don't need to do anything. You just sit back. You let the system do its work. Okay. And it'll message your lead until they reply. Okay. And when they reply, these auto messages stop. Some other magic happens that I'll talk about. If they never reply, well, the system will automatically archive them at 6 months because that's when castle compliance is over. The messages stop. The campaign is over. Okay. So, um, what happens, okay, when they reply or if they don't reply, like to get a little more detailed of that. Um, One of the neat things that I like about Sphere is the automated status updates. Okay. Um, is the automatic status updates of your contacts. Okay. So what I mean, when you reach out, and when I say you, I mean you or the system, right? Because you're using automation of the system. When a lead is reached out to, it can go one of two ways. Either they reply or they don't reply. Okay. And this chart shows how in RLP Sphere, the lead status will be automatically updated based on your new lead's responsiveness. So if they reply, they are updated to active from new lead. Okay. And when they become an active lead, it removes the campaign for new leads, right? And therefore they will not receive any future campaign messages of that nature. If they never reply, well, at the 6-month mark, like I said, they're gonna the campaign will be removed, and then their status will turn from new lead to archived. Okay, and like I said before, this marks the end of the campaign and the end of their messages. Okay, I see an awesome question from Melanie, and I'm just going to bring it back to the previous slide because it's in relation to, do we get an alert that day to do the items in yellow? I love it. That's a great question, right? Um, so no, you don't get an alert per se, but when you go into the sphere, there you have what's called a dashboard, and there's a section there that has all your to-dos, your tasks, okay? And that's where you will go. Now, what you really want to do is on a habit, as soon as you get a lead, as soon as you accept a lead, you're going to receive an email from the system that says you have a new lead. Here's the lead contents. And then there's a big button that says click here to access your lead in RLP Sphere. Okay. So what you want to do is you just push that button, you jump in the sphere, and you will be shown your to-dos for that person. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now I see a question that's kind of relevant to the next one about the lead responsiveness. Um, if someone replied but the campaign is still running, what happened? Janet, that's a great question. That sounds like a tech error, and I would say you need to reach out to tech support because that is not supposed to be happening, unfortunately. And I see Tanya's asking a question about listing alerts. You know what, Tanya, you are in luck. I have a little section about listing alerts coming up, so I will when we get to that, you can have a listen, and if I missed anything, you can throw your questions in there. Perfect. Okay. So now, in spite of the fact that these campaigns do so much and they are amazing, I know a lot of agents who resist using them. They don't want to. And the most common reason that I've heard from agents is that they feel like the campaigns don't sound like them. They'll say to me, well, Stephanie, that doesn't sound like me. That's not how I speak. It sounds like a robot. That's not me. Okay. And, I kind of half agree. It probably doesn't sound like you, right? It doesn't sound like me either. But these do not sound like robots. As I mentioned before, We did extensive research. We thought over every single word, and sometimes we had debates over the contents of these messages. Everything is said for a reason, and that's to elicit a response from a lead. Okay. Also, remember that these online leads, for the most part, are complete strangers. They don't know you, they don't know me. An online lead that I've never met is not going to receive a message from a smart campaign and think to himself, gee, wow, that doesn't sound like Stephanie. That's a weird message. They don't know me. Remember that. Now, I'm also want you to see how amazing the messages are so you can feel confident that they will represent the professionalism that you stand for. Okay. So, this is an example of the immediate email a lead will receive if it comes in with only an email. Now, if they include a phone number, they get a text that's very similar, it's just a little shorter. So, hi, Bill. Thanks for your inquiry on the Royal LePage website. I need to confirm some details to make sure you get the right information. Do you prefer email, text, or a phone call? You can call me on my number below or reply to this email with your number if you want to text or talk on the phone. If you prefer email, I'm okay with that too. Just let me know. I'll send you an email with detailed information soon. Sincerely, Stephanie Gellman. Okay. Wonderful message. It satisfies people because they get it within a couple minutes of you accepting them as a lead. Other key pieces that are in here, because I told you we think about everything. In case you're wondering why we say that what we say, we tell them where they completed a form. Because believe it or not, sometimes people forget where they filled out an online form. So when you reply to them, you always need to tell them, "I'm replying to the inquiry from here." Okay. Um, uh, I try to get their phone number because I mentioned this lead did not include a phone number. So I said, you can call me or reply to your number if you want to text or talk on the I'm trying to get the number, right? But I'm also letting them know, like, no pressure. I'm cool with email too. Okay. So that's the first message. Now, a couple of the other messages, here's a few examples of some of the other messages that are part of the campaigns. Um, Hi there, any updates on your search for a new home? I've got a few in the area that might work well for you. If you're still interested, may I give you a call in the next day or two? Hello, I've been trying to reach you. Is this the right number? Hey, I've got some time tomorrow or today, tomorrow, if you'd like to chat. Does morning or afternoon work better for you? Beautiful. Okay. So these ones, some of these are some of the shorter ones. And you don't see it in here, but they all have, like, all the text messages have the opt out mechanism. All the emails have the opt out mechanism because, like I said, we are castle compliant. Okay. So here's an example of one of the professional designed and templated informational pieces that I mentioned. This is one of our buyer pieces that helps clients understand the finances. Now, my favorite part, because I love myself, is this lovely lady down here. I didn't have to do anything. It's really cool. All that info was automatically added. All I had to do was make sure that I had a completed profile on the RLP network because that's where it pulled the photo. That's where it pulled my phone number, my contact info, all that jazz. A link to my RLP Sphere website. And we want people going to our website. Okay. Um, so these are beautiful. Now, assuming the lead hasn't replied to any of the messages throughout the campaign on day 179, so day before 6 months, they're sent this final message. Should they not reply the following day, the system automatically updates their status to archived and the castle consent is removed. So they stay in your CRM. We don't delete them because they might come back, in a year or two, and then you'll have that historical information, but you don't talk to them again. They're just kind of pushed to the back burner. Okay. Amazing. So, we just saw how smart campaigns for new online leads provide fast response as well as long term valuable nurturing, which ultimately will result in more leads closing. Another powerful aspect of Sphere that we could probably spend a day talking about that can help you close more leads is called behavioral automation. Okay. And specifically, there's a feature in it called, well, first we're going to start with the feature called behavior alerts. Okay. So to find that, you're going to go in your Sphere, you go to marketing, all marketing, behavioral automation. Okay. Now, behavior alerts are automatic communications like emails and texts that are sent to your contacts when they do certain things on your rlpSPHERE website. So remember I said before how that other piece has a link to my site and I want people to come to my site. This is one of the reasons I want people to come to my site, because the system will do all kinds of cool nurturing work that will drive engagement, help keep people top of mind when they come to my website. So specifically, there's a little list of behaviors identified in the table. Okay, so such as revisiting your website after 14 days or liking a property on your site. There's a few other things. rlpSPHERE will send them a text or an email for that birthday, or for that behavior. So, like this one, for example, is one that will go to a lead if they come back to your website after 14 days. So Bill came to my site, and then 14 days later, he comes back. The system sends him a message. Hey, Bill, thanks for visiting the site. Are you focused on any specific areas / property types? So you can preview those messages. You can also edit them should you wish to do those. Okay, now those ones are generated by the KV Core RLP Sphere system. They're not personalized by RLP, but nevertheless, they are great little pieces that I suggest you use. Now, this stuff, you don't have to do anything. It's already turned on. You don't have to activate anything. It's already turned on for you. Okay. Now, search alerts for my friend Tanya. Search alerts are another great way to engage leads and to provide them value. Okay. Now, when you assign a search alert, assigning a search alert, it's one of the things that you're actually tasked to do as part of a smart campaign for a new online lead. But there'll be other times when you sign people up for search alerts. Now, what they are is an automated email sent from the system, and it contains properties of interest, and it'll be linked to your website. So it's kind of like a little newsletter. It looks really cute, shows pictures, and then people click on the pictures, brings them to to your site so they can view more. And KV Core has some really great things to say about the value of search alerts. And they call them listing alerts, but it's all the same thing. So one of the ways that KV Core communicates with leads, by far the most critical, are listing alerts. Listing alerts are pretty commonly known by everyone in the business. Now, they aren't just for sending your leads what they want, though. You need to use them as a tool to get people to return to your website on a regular basis. Now, you might think, well, those two goals are one and the same, but that is not true. You must always work off the assumption that leads are extremely volatile. They have zero loyalty. True. In order to build that relationship, you must always be front and center, or you will be left by the wayside as your lead is distracted by the competition. And we do not want that to happen, right? Right. Okay. Um, Okay, so there's a few ways for somebody to receive search alerts from you via the rlpSPHERE system. Okay, so you can access search alerts from a specific contacts page in your CRM, and then you assign it to that person from there. Okay, so this is what it looks like when I clicked on my contact Philip. In the little right-hand corner, there's a little area that is called search alerts. I just click on add, and then I will add the alert. Now, you can assign up to 5 different alerts per contact. So, in case you have a reason to send them alerts for different kinds of properties, maybe they want condos in the downtown and a cottage in cottage country, and I don't know, 3 other kinds of places. You can assign up them up to receive up to 5. So, um, you can also find search alerts not only from the contacts page, okay, you can find them in the marketing tab. And this is where you can do some cool, some work for preparing for automated search alerts. Okay. So there's a tab called search alerts. You click on it. Now, from that page, what you do is you can create search alerts that will be automatically applied to incoming leads based on a hashtag. So, like, for example, I did an example here. I created a hashtag rule where leads coming in from a property boost listing in Toronto will receive a hashtag called Toronto Homes. Then I created a rule that anyone with the Toronto Homes hashtag will get a search alert for properties in Toronto. So effectively, what I did was any leads that I'm going to receive from that property boost will automatically get a search alert applied. I didn't have to do anything except for that little bit of upfront work on my part. Okay. So that's a really cool one to remember. Okay. Now, one of the most interesting search alert functions is the completely automated search alert. Okay. So let me explain how this works. However, a contacted is added to your RLP sphere, whether manual or automatic or however, they're all subject to the same rule for automatically generated search alerts. A search alert will be automatically created for a new contact if the contact is logged into your website and they viewed a property and they don't have a search alert already configured to them. So if both of those conditions are met, then the system will do the work for you. It'll automatically create a alert based on the property that the property or properties that they viewed within the last 2 days. Okay, on your website. Now, this is what happened to my friend John. So John, if you're still in the house, please feel free to put your camera on while I introduce a bit of what happened to my friend John here. So John, he's a newish agent, and it was late February of this year. John did a property boost for one of his listings, right? He had a listing. He was trying to get more people to view it. And a person called Angie, like let's just call her Angie, she clicked on the listing and then she asked him some questions about the property. Now, John's pretty good guy. Um, you can't turn on your video, but you're here. That's cool. Maybe
I'm
we
here.
need to do something. Maybe Ariane can look into that, but I love that you're
That's all
here
right.
letting me know. So um so John, like, a good diligent agent, he replied to her pretty quickly, invited her to come to an upcoming open house, but she didn't answer, kind of like a typical lead does. So not to throw you under the bus, John, but John forgot about her. He didn't reach out to her again, right?
I did not know.
He didn't. And he just carried on doing his thing like he normally does, right? And then at the end of April, she picks up the phone and she calls him seemingly like kind of out of the blue. And John goes, "What is happening here? This is amazing." So he reached out to me and he said, "I've got to tell you this story and we have got to look into this." And what's really cool, okay, now let's get real. She's probably not going to buy that property, right? Most leads don't buy that property, but they're working together to find the one that's right for her. Okay, so John, tell us what the heck happened here.
She definitely didn't buy that property. When she called me, it was already firm. So she had been receiving through this behavioral automation, and I wish I was more familiar with it because I could have spoken a little bit more intelligently when she called me out of the blue. I had received a few text messages that she had opened or that she clicked on, viewed something 3 times, right? So I ignored those. I didn't think much of them. But when we opened up, went under the hood here, Steph, what you've got on the screenshot, she had been getting dripped for weeks since that initial text message I sent her.
Yeah, because after that first message, even though she didn't reply, his signature had a link to his Sphere website. So she jumped on that site. She was browsing. She wasn't ready to talk to him yet, right? She was still early. Okay, so she started browsing on his site. While she was there, she was prompted to log in because that's kind of one of the built-in features of the site. Prompts you, oh, you want to stay on the site for longer, right? We'll show you a few photos, but you want to hang out longer, you got to log in, create an account. So she did that. She viewed a property. And like I said before, right, remember folks, there's that magical equation. If somebody logs in and they view some properties and they don't already have a search alert because John didn't do it, but that's okay. The system had his back. The system went, well, this lady is keen. She's clearly interested. So we will do a search alert. So John and I went through his CRM and we went through, and when you go in your CRM, you'll see in the middle of it, okay, there's like a timeline. So you go in that timeline. We looked in there and we saw, just like he said, we saw that she had opened some, She didn't open other. She was getting emails like maybe once a week, every once maybe twice a week, depending on how many properties were available that fit her criteria. And yeah, the ones in here, I apologize, it's tiny, tiny, but it's got a little blue thing next to this envelope that indicates that she opened, and then this little black one shows that she didn't open. Now, as like what, it was like 2 months went by, right? She's opening stuff. The system gives her a star rating. Okay. So she came in as a 1-star potential client because we didn't know anything about her and she didn't respond to the first message. As she started opening things, revisiting his site, the system starts upgrading her score. She went from a 1 to a 2 to a 3 to a 4. So eventually, what was really mind blowing, she got made into a 5-star the day that she called you, John. Did you notice that date? That was the part that really freaked me out. It was like the system knew, it was predicting this lady's going to call. She is good. She's been opening these. She's opened X amount. We think she's ready. Okay. Now, um, and so, I on the contact page also, okay, so I think I saw a comment of like, can you narrow down the search alert, right? Because it was automatically applied. It might not fit her perfectly. Yeah, you can always click on the contact and you can edit it. Right here, there's an edit button, so you can make changes. It's not set in stone at all. You can even turn it off if for whatever reason you want to, but you don't want to. You want people to keep coming back. Now, John, tell me, like, after you learned what this can do, how do you feel as an agent having this as a tool?
It was the best, yeah, most inspiring thing that's happened in terms of my getting an understanding of the power of rlpSPHERE, right? I have not spent nearly enough time exploring and learning about it. I have a current listing now that I'm going to do a price drop, but I will be once again, plugging into behavioral automation and taking advantage of it. Yeah, it's been very exciting for me being a relatively newish realtor.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. And I appreciate you sharing, and I appreciate you being candid, right? Because not everyone is ready to, kind of share. Hey, um, y like you could have. Let's be real. You could have missed a really good opportunity. She could have slipped through the cracks, right? But because the system had your back, that didn't happen. She didn't go to someone else. Because in reality, when at the start of the session, when I said that 1% or less close rate, well, that's because people like Angie, when she got ready, she probably would have just gone on some other website, right? And then the opportunity's lost. So, um, yeah, thank you so much, John. I appreciate your sharing.
Thanks for having me on, Steph.
Okay, so we're getting close to the wrap up. Okay, so it's great. We are on time, amazingly. So I just want to remind you folks, right? The 3 principles to closing online leads: be fast, be persistent, provide value. When you use Sphere, you will be able to reply to your leads quickly. And when you combine the smart campaigns with the search alerts, they help you remain persistent with valuable outreach over time with very, very little effort on your part, as we just heard from our friend John, because over 90% of the work is automated for you. And this is ultimately going to raise your close rate from the typical 1% or less to a much more profitable 4 to 6% or maybe even more. Okay. But also remember that most of your leads will not close. Okay. Um, because of that, you really need to remember that when you're working leads, you need to get used to hearing no, or sometimes, most of the time, nothing at all. You're going to hear nothing at all most of the time. Okay. And that is why you want to use the automation of the Sphere. Helps you sift out the good leads from the bad. The ones that want to transact will reply. The rest will either unsubscribe or they will ignore you. Okay. Using the smart campaigns and search alerts, they save you time and effort, increase your likelihood of success, allow you to focus your attention on the right people. Okay. Now, remember at the start, I said, like, if you're someone that uses another CRM and you're married to it and you don't want to leave it, that's fine. Keep using it. Okay. Um, but think about using rlpSPHERE to filter your new leads, because we have all this cool stuff in here that will help you. And then once those people have actually shown that they want to work with you, once they've replied and you're interacting and stuff, then move them into your primary CRM. Okay, this is a really cool idea um, to think about. Okay, so because like I said, so many of your leads, they're already integrating into your sphere, they're already going in there. You have all these amazing features. Why not use them to filter out the cold from the hot? Okay. Um, Now, remember also, like if people reply, but they're indicate they're not ready to transact soon, well, maybe don't move them into your main CRM yet. Use the Sphere various templated drips like the Client for Life or one of your own creation to stay in touch while they figure out your timeline. And all the cold leads, you just leave them in your Sphere. Okay. And the system will just automatically archive them for you. Yeah, I love it. Okay. There's a question in the chat. I see that it was answered in the chat, but I want to say it out loud as well. Yes, all the campaigns are available en français. Ils sont tout en français. You just type in rlpFR and you will find all of them at in available. So for everything that we made in English, we have made a French version. Absolument. Okay. So as a follow-up, like I said, along with the recording of the session, I'm going to send you a document that lists all the smart campaigns that I recommend you activate to ensure that all your leads are covered. Okay. Now, if you're super eager and you don't want to wait for me to send you the recording because it'll be later today or maybe early tomorrow morning, it takes some processing time. You can find that document right now in the RLP network under the marketing tab, then select smart leads. Okay. Maybe Ariane can help me out and grab it and throw it in the chat. That would be super amazing. So if anyone wants it right now, they don't even need to go anywhere and look for it. Okay. It is a doc called RLP Sphere Smart Campaigns for Online Leads, and it's located in the RLP network under the marketing tab. Select Smart Leads Agent Resources. Okay, and on that page, you will also see all my previous webinars, which are awesome. So you should check those out as well. Okay. What else do you want to do? Okay, you don't need to set up anything to make use of the automated messages via the behavioral automation, right? We saw that from our friend John. He didn't set anything up. That was just automatically happening. Okay, and same with the messages that happen to people when they go to your website. You don't need to do anything. It's already done for you, but you can view them. You can preview and edit them if you want to. Okay, you can find those in the marketing area of rlpSPHERE. Okay. Now, if you feel like you need more training, because I didn't get into all the deep details of click here, click there, right? This is more of an overview session today. If you feel like you need more training, um, I want you to reach out to our learning services department. Okay, you can access them various ways. Ariane, I would like if you could, please, my friend, go to the RLP network. I want you to go to the marketing tab, smart leads. You're going to go to the agent resources, okay, and it called RLP Smart Campaigns for Online Leads. What do I call it? rlpSPHERE Smart Campaigns for Online Leads. Okay, right here, this guy. Perfect. Thank you so much, my friend. All right. So, like I said, if you need more training about the sphere, you're going to reach out to learning services. You can also find them on the RLP network where there's all kinds of cool resources. You can find self-directed training done by them in the sphere. Okay. You can also just email them or give them a call. Okay. And you might even see them live coming to your office because they even do that. Okay. So they are amazing. Now, lastly, oh, and look at that. We have a new email for learning services, ls@royallepage.ca. I love that. That's smart. It's a lot shorter. I bet you guys were getting a lot of people doing typos with that long one that you had. So ls@royallepage.ca is the email for learning services. Perfect. Okay. Now, um, if you enjoyed my session today and you want to hear other training sessions that I have hosted, whether it's by me, sometimes I have experts come in and they're the guest speaker. Sometimes I've even done interviews with some successful agents from Royal LePage. You can find all of those on my Smart Leads YouTube channel. They're also on the RLP network. Okay. The marketing tab, Smart Leads Agent Resources. You'll see all the webinars there. One of my most recent ones that was really great was with an agent named Liam Poirier from RLP Edmonds in Petawawa, and he's kind of a newer guy, but he's also mega award winner, and he has had a lot of success with leads. And in his interview, he talks about like tips and tricks on how to work leads. So you'll find that on the YouTube channel. Okay. Now, lastly, if you're kind of old school like me and you like to read books, you can probably get the online version, but I like the ones that are paper and I can hold. I recommend these two. So one is called The Conversion Code by Chris Smith, and it's in my opinion, well, not just my opinion, in a lot of people's opinion, it's the best book about working online leads, hands down. The Conversion Code, Chris Smith. The second one that I want to recommend is called Exactly What to Say. Okay. And it is written by Philip M. Jones. It's a great read to learn how to communicate effectively. Now, whether it's with online leads, sales, just kind of people in general, it's a really, really good read. Okay. So, that is all we have for today. Can you believe it? We did it with 10 minutes to spare. I'm giving you 10 minutes back of your life because it's not quite 3. So you'll have some time to look at that doc if you grabbed it now in the sphere. And you can just go in and start playing. Look at stuff, right? And get in there and start working it. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to send you this recording. I'm going to send you that Google Doc that has the list of the campaigns that Ariane's putting in here. But if you don't grab it now, don't sweat. You'll get it later. I'm also going to send you a bunch of other resources. I think I have like 4 or 5 PDFs and links and stuff. Send you all kinds of goodies so you can really fully understand the automation and the power. Okay, the power that it has, right? You don't need to do manual work anymore. Um, so thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day.